In this video I am going to explain to you why the New World Order has already begun and why the money we all know will no longer have value. A month ago, billionaire investor Ray Dalio made a video in which he explained why the United States will cease to be the #1 world power and why that will render the dollar worthless. This will cause millions of people to lose money, both people who have dollars and people who have currencies related to the dollar, such as the euro or any currency of a Latin American country. If you could only watch one video on my channel, this would possibly be the most important. In this video we are going to see what exactly is going to happen, and how you can protect yourself so as not to lose your money. So with that said, let's go with the video. In the video, which by the way has more than 8 million views, Ray Dalio explains the most important thing he has learned in his entire career as an investor. He calls it the change of the world order, and this is nothing new. This is something that has been going on for thousands of years and basically consists of the fact that every 250 years the world power changes, which is something that is about to happen again. Before continuing with the video, I want to explain to you who Ray Dalio is, and why we should at least listen to what he says. Ray Dalio is one of the most famous investors in the world. He is the founder of Bridgewater, which is one of the largest investment funds in the world. Also, two of my favorite YouTubers made a video talking about this video. The Ray Dalio video is a long complex video, and it is also only in English, but in this video what I am going to do is explain it in a simple way so that everyone understands it. Even so, if you want to go deeper, I'll leave you the video of Ray Dalio in the description so you can see it in its entirety. Before going on to explain the video, I want to make it clear that I am simply limiting myself to explaining what Ray Dalio says in his video. I cannot know if what he says is really going to happen, but even so, I think it is important to listen to him and prepare ourselves. Just in case, when Ray Dalio talks about world order, he refers to which country or which nation controls the world today. I think we all agree that the United States is the country that controls the world. What determines which country controls the world is which country has the reserve of value currency. The currency or currency of reserve of value is a currency that is accepted by everyone, and that also everyone wants to have that currency or currency. Today the currency of value reserve is the dollar, and the United States is the world power. Ray Dalio explains to us that world powers are not forever, but that they go from one world power to another world power. For example, Spain was a world power, Portugal was a world power, United Kingdom was a world power, and today the United States is a world power. But that doesn't mean it will be forever. In the video he explains that the world powers go through 3 phases, and once they have gone through these 3 phases it is the turn of a new world power. He also tells us that these 3 phases usually occur in 250 years, therefore what Ray Dalio wants to tell us is that a world power simply exists for 250 years until it is the turn of another power. The 3 phases are the following. The first phase is called the rise. It refers to when a group of people come to power and unite an entire nation under a flag or an objective. The objective of creating a nation is to increase economic productivity. This phase is characterized by the fact that the country or nation usually invests both in education and in military matters. The fact of investing in military issues makes that nation safer, and therefore there is less instability, and what this generates is that there is more economic productivity in the country. If we put together an educated country, a productive country, and a country that has good security, we create a country that has everything necessary to create a world value reserve currency. Once the country has been able to create a world value reserve currency, we move on to the next phase, then the next. And this phase is called the top. Once this phase is reached, the following happens. The citizens of this country are becoming richer, and therefore it is becoming more expensive to hire in that country. What is happening is that this country is becoming less competitive. Why? Because it is easier to go and hire a person in a country where you have to pay less than to have to hire a person in this country that is a world power, and therefore you have to pay more because all citizens are richer than in other countries. What's more, what happens is that there are other countries that are going to copy the things that this world power does, and are going to be able to develop and produce them much more cheaply. In the end, this is what has happened with the United States and China. China manufactures a lot of things that are manufactured in the United States, but much cheaper, just as there are Chinese companies that copy what US companies do. For example, in the United States they make iPhones, and in China there are a lot of companies that make products similar to iPhones, but they do it much cheaper. both because they save on research and they also save on production. The fact of having the reserve of value currency, what they encourage is that there are many people who ask for loans, because there are many people who want to have that currency, and that what ends up generating is that there is more and more difference between the rich and the poor. Once there is a big difference between the rich and the rich will want to keep their wealth while the poor will ask for a redistribution of wealth, and this brings us to the next point. The next point is called the decline. This phase usually arrives due to the great difference between rich and poor, which usually generates internal conflicts. And also what internal conflicts usually generate are external conflicts. Why? Because if a country that is a competitor of that world power sees that it has problems within its own country, it usually takes the opportunity to attack this world power. These internal and external conflicts, added to the fact that this world power has many debts, simply give it two options. Option number 1 is to simply go bust, and option number 2 is to print more money. Historically, all countries have preferred to print more money. The fact of printing more money, what it does is that money costs less and less and generates inflation. What this does is make the country poorer and make all its citizens poorer. When a country starts printing a lot of money, what the rich usually do is buy assets with which they feel safer, such as other currencies or gold. By the way, I'd like to take this opportunity to tell you that if you find the content of this video interesting, don't hesitate to leave a good like. It's something that doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps me a lot. Once all this happens, Ray Dalio tells us that the cycle begins again, and we start again with the rise, but in this case from another world power. That said, something that is really important to understand is that if there is a change in world power, there will be a lot of people who are going to lose a lot of money. Now let's see what Ray Dalio recommends to protect us. When a government prints a lot of money, what he recommends to do is buy three things. The first thing is to buy commodities. Which is a commodity? Basically is to invest in gold, invest in gas, invest in electricity, invest in oil. These are commodities. The second thing he recommends is to invest in real estate and invest in an apartment, a house, and land. And the third thing he recommends is just investing in stocks. In the end, when you invest in a stock, you're investing in a company. Here he took the opportunity to do an extra, and this is a personal opinion, this is nothing that Ray Dalio has said, and it is that I think that some cryptocurrencies can also be an interesting asset to be able to protect us from the states that print a lot of money. But this is still a personal opinion, and it is not something that Ray Dalio said. I would also like to tell you that if you think this video could be useful to a family member or friend, do not hesitate to share it. Just to understand why Ray Dalio recommends investing in commodities, in real estate, and in stocks, we have to understand the difference between value and price. Value is the benefits and usefulness of a product or service, while price is the amount of money you have to pay to obtain that product or service. I am going to give you an example, because with examples everything is better understood. It really is super important that you understand this, because understanding it can make you avoid losing a lot of money. Imagine that you buy a cup to drink coffee. This cup costs you $1. The price is $1, and its value is that you can drink coffee in this cup. Also imagine that the United States continues to print money and prints a lot of money, therefore the value of money goes down, and therefore now the cup costs $10. But it is not that the cup has increased in value, but that money costs less. And the question that Ray Dalio asks us is, do you want to have a cup or simply have the dollars? Obviously you prefer to have the cup because the cup allows you to maintain purchasing power. But in this case Ray Dalio does not recommend that we do it by buying a cup. He recommends that we do it by buying commodity shares or real estate. To conclude this video, I would like to give a message of calm and say that nobody knows what is going to happen. Nobody knows if the United States will really cease to be the #1 power, and if that happens, nobody knows when it will be. We don't know if it will be in 2 years, in 50 years, or in 250 years. My personal opinion is that we should not worry too much about this, and what we should worry about is being good professionals, because in the end if you are a good professional you do not care if the United States is the #1 power, or if it is the power #2. If you are good at work you will never have problems, because they will hire you whether it is China power #1 or the United States power #1. Like, my personal opinion is that if you invest, these types of power changes will affect you less than if you simply save money. In order to protect myself, I invest mainly in the stock market in an index fund from all over the world. Basically, when I invest in the stock market, I invest both American companies and European companies and Chinese companies and companies from all over the world. Therefore, I do not worry so much, because I have exposure to literally the whole world. If China begins to be the #1 power, well, too, it will benefit me because I also invest in China. One thing you could do is send this video to a friend to warn them of what is coming, and so they can protect themselves. Something that I also recommend is that you watch the entire Ray Dalio video, so that you can understand everything that I have explained to you in this video. I am going to leave it in the description of this video. I would also like you to leave in the comments of this video what is your opinion about all this, and what do you think is really going to happen. So nothing guys, Mega Investitor says goodbye, and I really hope this video has been useful to you. Leave a like, it doesn't cost you anything, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. See you in the next video.